The Raiders get blown out and embarrassed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and now it's on to the bye week. So what's next? That plus more coming up on Monday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for October 20th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. We definitely appreciate you if you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page. We appreciate both. The show grows each and every day because of your support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good each and every day. We shout him out. We appreciate him. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. I'm on Twitter as well at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, we got the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line for you, 707-654-4693. And of course, tons of feedback, calls, texts after the Raiders get blown out, bludgeoned, beat up, embarrassed by the Kansas City Chiefs, 31-0. Andy Reid doesn't have shutouts. Andy Reid now has a shutout on his resume as far as a head coach. Just absolutely embarrassing. So as you know, plenty of feedback, plenty of calls and texts we'll get to as we'll close out the show, segment number 3. Segment number 2, we'll talk about what's next. The Raiders are 2-5 heading into the bye week. So what kind of changes should we expect? What type of changes am I looking for coming out of the bye week when they get ready to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars? Evaluation season. Remember that term? Yeah, we're talking about it already, and it's still October. Of course, here in segment number 1, news and notes, which really just has to do with the overall game, the game flow, and how everything shook out. Clearly, there was not much for the silver and black. We'll jump right into that after I tell you about the title sponsor of the show, which is PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So, off top, I do want to give a big RIP to former NFL running back and Raiders running back Doug Martin. Doug Martin obviously was a first-round pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was a fantastic running back. He just absolutely destroyed the Raiders when he played them. He was an Oakland guy, born in Oakland, raised in Stockton, went to school, high school in Stockton, Boise State as well. Found out on Sunday that he passed away at the age of 36 years old. So I don't know what all went into it. I don't know any of the details, but saw Boise State, saw Tampa Bay, and saw others announce that on Sunday. And so a big RIP to Doug Martin, and obviously shout out to his family. Thoughts and prayers obviously gone far, far too long. Now I want to jump into the game real quick. Man, where do you start, right? The Raiders lose 31-0. And honestly, it could have been worse than that, right? I mean, Andy Reid really called off the dogs in the third quarter when he took Patrick Mahomes out and put Gardner Minshew in. And then, it's bad. I've never seen this. I've been watching football for a very long time. I've never seen a team start to take a knee and go into victory formation with 2:33 left in the game. But that's what they did. And the Raiders had all 3 timeouts, and obviously the 2-minute warnings there too. But Andy Reid was like, nope. Calling off the dogs, go ahead, just take a knee. We'll punt the ball back to him and give it back. Like, it was just, it could have been a whole lot worse. But, man, I'll tell you what, the Raiders, 30 total plays ran. 30. That's it. On Friday, I was talking about keys to victory. I was talking about how many touches I want to see Ashton Genty have, 20 to 25. The Raiders, as a team, offensively, only ran 30 plays. That's the second fewest of any game in the Super Bowl era. The Browns had 28 versus Steelers in their first game as an expansion team in 1999. So think about that. The Raiders ran 30 offensive plays for the second fewest of any game in the Super Bowl era. The Browns had 28 versus Steelers in their very first game as an expansion team in 1999. That's how bad that performance by the Raiders was on Sunday. 3 passing first downs. 1 penalty earned the Raiders a first down as well, so they really had a total of 4 first downs, but 1 was because of a penalty. Geno Smith, 10 for 16, 67 yards, and was sacked once. Didn't turn the ball over. Didn't really have the ball long enough to turn the ball over. But Kenny Pickett, the guy that everyone wanted to see come in, he came in for a quick minute. His very first time he touched the ball, he fumbled it and gave the ball back to Kansas City in scoring territory already. But he ends the game 2 for 2, 8 yards. And like I said, that fumble, that first snap to a turnover. Genty had 6 carries for 21 yards. But what are you going to expect? What kind of offensive performance do you expect when you only run 30 total plays? We were talking about 52, 60, 65 plays they need to be up near. They ran 30. Kansas City, they ran 77. 77 plays. more than double what the Raiders ran. Like this, to me, like I have to look at these notes and just to actually believe them. Like I really had to go and write them down to make sure that I wasn't, out of my mind. Think about these scoring drives, just the scoring drives for Kansas City. 9 plays, 92 yards, 9 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock. 17 plays, 84 yards, 8 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. 16 plays, 94 yards, 6:22 off the clock. That was just the first half. That was just in the first half. Second half, 11 plays, 65 yards, 6 minutes off the clock. 9 plays, 66 yards, 4 minutes and 26 seconds off the clock. Those are the 5 scoring drives that Kansas City had. Just unreal. Unreal. And really, in this game, obviously Kansas City said, we're going to attack the Raiders linebackers, and we're going to attack them through the air. Right? The Raiders linebackers in coverage, and this is from Ryan McFadden from ESPN. He tweeted this out. Devin White, 7 targets, 6 catches, gave up 49 yards. Landon Roberts, 4 targets, 4 catches, gave up 70 yards. Jamal Adams, 2 targets, 2 catches, gave up 11 yards. Jamal Adams had a sack on Patrick Mahomes, but that was it. The Raiders had multiple times where it looked like they can come up with an interception, even though Jonah Laulu is a big dude, and so the big fella had his hands on the ball, kind of bobbled it around a few times, fell to the ground. Jeremy Chin caused a fumble. It bounced right into the hands of Kansas City, because why wouldn't it, right? I say it all the time. The Raiders just don't get those bounces. They don't get tip balls. None of the turnovers, right? We were talking about the turnovers that they created last week against Tennessee. How could they build on that? Those good habits, right, they created against the Titans. How could they take that into Kansas City? Can they take that? Nope, didn't happen. Multiple times they had their hands on the ball, could have created a turnover. Maybe it helps them with the momentum of the game a little bit. Nope, can't do it. Like I said, when Jeremy Chin caused a fumble, it was a really good play by him, but the ball literally bounced into the hands of Xavier Worthy, and he picks up even more yards. It's ridiculous, right? And then there was a tip ball that, of course, fell harmlessly to the ground, because it always does. Something I see at training camp. Well, yeah, during training camp, see it all the time because we get to watch the whole practice. But, yeah, just unbelievable. Just a terrible performance. And now this is 3 times in the first 7 games as Pete Carroll is the head coach of the Raiders, where the Raiders have been blown out. I was going into the season thinking I wasn't going to see any blowouts because of Pete Carroll, the head coach, and instead I've seen the exact opposite. 3 out of the 5 losses have been blowouts. That is unacceptable. And the good thing about it being unacceptable is that it's the bye week. So this is when, in theory, the Raiders make some changes, some adjustments, maybe even some massive changes. So what could that possibly be, as it is evaluation season, and it's not even November 1st? We'll talk about that coming up in segment number 2, today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple great sponsors that we have here on the show, and the first one is Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's SAD, software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is a unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Learn more at rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Again, rippling.com/LockedOnNFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. I also want to tell you about PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is a lot of fun. Simply add more excitement to football, right? You can pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards, Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, maybe Jalen Hurts getting in on the party. Either way, you're in the game. PrizePicks just added stacks, so if you want to ride with the player, you can select their passing yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, all in one place, all in one lineup. It's a fun way to play with other players in the app and copy their lineups with just one click if you want to do that. Right now, download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineup after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Time to jump into evaluation season as the Raiders are in the bye week, week 8. We'll get to talk to head coach Pete Carroll this morning, get his thoughts on what could be possibly coming down the pipeline as far as changes. But there's got to do something, right? They've got too many games still left. They still got 10 games to play coming out of the bye week, but there's got to be something changed. And look, I don't feel like this is a season that's all of a sudden going to get turned around. They're going to go on some long winning streak and have an opportunity to make the playoffs. They're just trying to build something, right? I did not think this is the way this season was going to go. It really feels like this thing is basically in the books, and now they're just going to have to ride this bad boy out and see who they move forward with and who they don't. Remember, trade deadline is November 4th. So I think that everybody is under the microscope right now. And again, I hate that this is even the conversation and it's not even November 1st. I sure thought we weren't going to have this conversation till late November, maybe even early December, right? Thought that the Raiders were going to be very competitive. And look, they could come out of the bye week and surprise the hell out of everybody, but not like the way they're playing. They just look really, really bad. And they don't look even competitive, which is something that we heard all offseason. Ever since January, since Pete Carroll got hired. Compete, 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 compete. Right? It's written on the wall everywhere. Any wall that has a wall, any wall that has space in the Raiders facility, it says compete. Always compete. Be competing. In Pete we trust. All that stuff. And they're not competitive. 2-5. Yeah, and they beat the Tennessee Titans, and we all wanted to know, was that the Tennessee Titans or was that the Raiders starting to figure things out? So, obviously there's still plenty of games to be played, but man, something's got to change. First of all, the offense, and I know they only ran 30 plays, so it's hard to judge it. The offense doesn't look like it's being ran by the play caller that's getting paid the most in the league, right? In Chip Kelly. I thought Chip Kelly's offense was going to be very creative. I didn't think it was going to be very predictable. Going to get Ashton Genty was going to make sure that they have a heavy emphasis on the run game. I mean, he had, one carry or 4 carries in the first quarter or whatever. I mean, just, again, he only had 6 carries in the whole game. So really can't judge a lot when you only have 30 plays that you run. But, man, it just hasn't been the offense that we all kind of expected that we were going to see. Something that was going to be aggressive, but they were also going to be able to control the clock with the running game. Just a heavy emphasis on creativity. We haven't seen it. So I think Chip Kelly's definitely going to have a sit down with Pete Carroll, and they're going to have to decide what their philosophy is going to be and how they're going to move forward, right? Because again, I don't think anything's off the books, right? I don't think anything is like, oh, this is untouchable or this person's untouchable. I think everybody is, like I said, under the microscope. The offense needs a lot of work. Geno Smith, I don't think that they're going to be sitting him down anytime soon. I think that once they come out of the bye week, they may have something set up for Kenny Pickett just in case they have to go to him. I don't think they'll do it right away, but I definitely think that they'll probably work on something during the bye week, right? Jacoby Myers very well easily could have played his last game with the Raiders, right? I don't want to see him traded. I think anyone who's listening to this show knows that. But with all the smoke that's out there about him possibly being traded and then the Raiders get blown out like they did, I definitely believe that we're going to hear a lot more rumors, especially this week while the Raiders aren't playing, right? And that's the unfortunate part of getting blown out. Now, we were talking to my radio show last week that if the Raiders go in there and compete against Kansas City and it's really close, even if they lose, the conversation is different on Monday. But if they get blown out, all of a sudden, everything changes and everything's on the table, and we get to the point where we're at right now, where we're talking about evaluation season. So if a team is out there and thinks that they need Jacoby Myers to add one more weapon and they can, make a push into the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if they're calling the Raiders and calling John Spytek and trying to make a move. I would say the same thing about Jackson Powers-Johnson. Again, this is all just stuff that I'm saying from my gut. I'm not saying anything that I'm hearing. None of this is being reported. I'm just, again, spitballing. So, again, I'll throw it out there because, the website's going to write that Q said this, Q said that. I'm not reporting anything. But Jackson Powers-Johnson, you saw him get benched on Sunday. You saw them bring in Alex Kappa. And look, JPJ was having a rough day. So I don't blame them for sitting him down. But we all know how it's gone all year with JPJ. Something has not been right. There's been a disconnect between him and the team somehow, right? The coaching staff, whatever. And I don't know where the root of that is. I don't know who is not a big JPJ fan. To me, he's one of the best offensive linemen that they have outside of Colton Miller. We know Colton Miller's injured. But I'm not the coach. I'm not the guys that are making those decisions. Obviously, there's some kind of disconnect somewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if a team suffers an injury out there and they need a guard or a center and they decide that they call the Raiders, hey, what's their plans with JPJ? Remember, John Spytek didn't bring him in, so he's not married to him, right? I mean, that's the thing. When you have all this turnover like the Raiders do, anything is possible. Anybody could be moved. Now, we know that nobody that the Raiders drafted this year is going to get moved, but anybody could be on the block. And look, I'll say this, and I'm sure this already happened too. Teams are going to call about Max. Teams are going to call and say, hey, what's it going to take to get Max? Don't think the Raiders are going to go there, but teams are going to call. Teams that have, edge rushers that go down or need an extra edge rusher because, again, they're gearing up for a playoff run, they're going to call and ask the price at least. I'm sure the Raiders will pick up the phone. I'm sure they'll have a conversation. I don't think that they're going to move them, but it's all these conversations, all these rumors are really going to be flying this week, especially with it being the bye week. Charles Grant, Caleb Rogers, I'm sure there's going to be some time where they might get them into the mix, especially if, they were to move JPJ, then I could definitely see Caleb Rogers getting in there. I think Charles Grant is a guy that probably won't get some burn until maybe the last few weeks of the season, if at all this year, just because I think that he may need a redshirt year, but they might not have redshirt time. And at this stage of the game, they might want to just get him in there anyway to see if he's someone to build off of. Darian Porter, you saw him get into the game late against Kansas City. I think you'll see him more. Definitely believe you'll see him moving forward. I don't know the injury status of Isaiah Polamau. I saw him go down late in the game. That's the other thing. The Raiders got a bunch of injuries, including Max. Max got injured on the game, right, and missed a majority of the game because of the knee injury. So, it's one of those where everyone's going to be looked at and evaluated. And I think that ownership is going to be looking at the coaching staff. I'm never a believer in firing the coach, get rid of the coach. I'm not that guy because, man, you just can't have that constant turnover. I don't think the Raiders will do that with Pete Carroll either. But, man, if they have, they come out of the bye week and they suffer a few more embarrassing losses like this, I mean, again, you could take a L. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. You could take a L, but a 31-0 whooping where you only run 30 plays, like those are fireable offenses, right? Those are things where people are tweeting at me during the game and, asking, well, what's next, Q? And I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like some changes are coming. They got to be, right? When you have that kind of performance, some kind of change has to happen, right? It very well easily could be someone ends up losing their job. I'm not saying Pete Carroll, but someone on that staff could be looked at. He might have to make the tough decision to move on from his son as the offensive line coach. I don't know. I don't know where it's, where the changes are coming. But after that kind of a loss, some type of change has to happen. So, again, not throwing it out there saying that this is going to happen. Just feel like something has to happen. Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett, Aiden O'Connell, maybe when he gets back, when he gets healthy, maybe he's the guy that gets into the mix. I don't know. I don't think the Raiders are going to go out and trade for anyone and bring him in. The only guy I can see them doing that for is Tariq Woolen. And that's only because he's kind of on the outs there in Seattle. Obviously, Pete Carroll's very familiar with them. The Raiders secondary is not looking very good, right? I think Stokes is playing some pretty good ball. Darian Porter, we haven't really seen him yet. We saw a lot of Caillou Blue Kelly, and I didn't like the fact that the Raiders are playing a bunch of soft coverage. Talked about it on Friday's show. You can't play that soft coverage against Kansas City. You got to be physical with them. And they had little open pockets between the corners and the safety, just so many open pockets. They didn't start playing man-to-man until late in the game. And that's when they actually were able to get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. You should have done that from the jump. So there's going to have to be a Pete Carroll and probably a Patrick Graham sit down and, hey, how do we move forward? I think that's going to happen with everybody throughout the course of the week. But it's definitely evaluation season. I definitely think this team is going to look a lot different when they take the field in Week 9 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But what's on your mind? Your calls and texts are next when we close out the show. 707-654-4693. We'll hear from you next. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple more sponsors we have here on the show, including Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes, they all sweat the details, right? Mazda brings that same attention to how they craft every single model. You can feel the craftsmanship in every detail. Metallic accents, all the Napa leather upholstery, fantastic. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to great controls. All-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like the players, they sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. I also want to tell you about FanDuel. With the NFL season where it is right now, already just about 7 weeks in the book, FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, you can do player props, which a lot of people like to do those, and even follow the live lines during the games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So hopefully you didn't listen to me and say that and think that the game was going to be close against Kansas City and say, hey, you know what? I know that the Raiders are 12.5-point underdogs. I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders and take the points. Hopefully you didn't listen to me and do that, because obviously you would have lost. Hopefully you were a lot smarter than that. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts are after that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. Let's start out with Calvin from Maryland. He's calling to talk about not only the loss to Kansas City, but also the loss to the Colts. Basically, the embarrassing losses the Raiders have had so far this season.
Yo, Q, your boy Calvin, man, from Maryland, man. It's crazy, man. I'll be honest, man. Raiders fan for years, man, decades. You know what I mean? These 2 losses we've had this year, man, have been the worst embarrassing losses. I mean, we've had some embarrassing losses, man. But the loss to the Colts and this loss, and man, it's just, in one season, man, it's just like we're not even 7 games in. We are, but, man, this is crazy, bro. Like, this is not even halfway through the season, man, and we already done had 2 truly embarrassing losses, man. This is crazy, man. Being a Raiders fan is not easy, bro. Like, I literally say it takes probably 5 to 10 years off your life being a Raiders fan, man. You're supposed to live to be 88, 78, man. Because of these guys, you're going to check out, man. This is crazy, man. It's just, I don't know, man. And, you know, with Pete Carroll, I understand he's a good coach and all, but I don't know what he missed looking at us. And I know, I give some of the beat writers, I mean, and I respect a lot of you guys, and I respect you the most. You don't seem like a homer. So I respect you the most, where it's like, you know, it feels different. But I don't know what happened, man. Maybe seeing us go against us in practice, it felt different. But it just don't, you know what I mean? Something ain't right, man. Like, you should have seen that we need some cornerbacks. You know what I mean? We're not getting enough pressure outside of, I mean, it's just crazy, man. What I will say is, like, I understand that, and I give a little credit, I mean, not even credit, but with the offense, I think we came into the season relying on using a 12 personnel. We haven't been able to do that. Brock got hurt 3 quarters in, then all of a sudden, Myers got a concussion, so we haven't been able to do the 12 personnel all year with the 2 guys we planned on doing it with. I don't know what the plan is, man, but hopefully we get it right soon, man, because it's sad, man. Like, it causes you to drink, you know what I mean? So, one thing for sure, win, lose, or tie, Raider fan till I die, man, I'm out, man. Just give me your thoughts.
Calvin, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. And, yeah, honestly, the Raiders have had 3 embarrassing losses: Washington, Indy, and KC. And that's not right, right? I mean, you have 5 losses, and 3 of them are embarrassing. They need to make some adjustments, right, and actual big changes moving forward. That's why I said it's evaluation season. I think that the Raiders during the bye week are going to go up and down their roster. I think they're going to take a look at their coaches, figure out what works and what doesn't work, because this ain't right, right? That kind of performance that you have going into your bye week, you just can't have that. The only way that could be worse is if that's the performance you have coming out of your bye week. If you do that coming out of your bye week, that's all bad. Remember when the Raiders under Antonio Pierce, what was it, in 2023? That was the year when he was still the interim. Yeah, he was still the interim. But remember, they went into the bye, and then they came out and they didn't score anything against the Vikings. The score was, 3-0 at Allegiant? Like, wait, hold on. That was the performance? And then, 4 days later, they put up 60-something points against the Chargers, so kind of made everybody forget about that. But those are the you can't have that kind of performance, man. It just makes it look like your team is not prepared, makes it look like, your team quit. It's bad. It's reflection of bad on everybody. Everybody. And the ones that suffer the most, obviously, are the fans. But thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Got a text from Raider Jason in 304. It says, good day, Q. Raider Jason from the 304. I'd like to expand on the I'm not mad, I'm disappointed theme. 1, I'm disappointed that Geno is closer to Jamarcus Russell than he is Derek Carr. 2, I'm disappointed that Chip Kelly has produced a dysfunctional offense and massively underachieved. And 3, I'm disappointed that Pete Carroll doesn't have these guys regularly prepared, especially for 1 o'clock games. 4, I'm disappointed that Patrick Graham constantly gets smoked by elite play callers. The list can go on and on. things often get worse before they get better, but they have to be at rock bottom. This team is a mess and is regressing. As always, love the show. Just win, baby. Go Raiders. That's Raider Jason in 304. I think that's fantastic. I really do. I don't know how, but I'm going to use that somehow. Right? That was a great breakdown. Maybe I'll use it on my radio show later this afternoon. I don't know, but that is fantastic. And that really highlights the first 7 games. I think that you did it. I think you broke it down perfectly. That really has broken down what this Raiders team is as of right now. And if they're not at rock bottom, they're close. Really good stuff, man. Thanks for that text. Up next, got a call from LQ Raider in the 760. He's calling as a lifelong Raider fan who was expected a Raider loss, but he's talking about the way they lost and what he feels that they are doing. Here's LQ Raider in the 760.
Hey, Q. This is LQ Raider calling from the 760. I am fan for life, Raider fan for life. You see me at the game. But man, what a another rough Sunday. Bro, I gotta tell you, I love your show. I love listening. I try to stay positive, but my gosh, why is it we cannot get any better? I was expecting this loss. That's part of the sad part. But again, just when you think we couldn't look any worse, we do. I mean, it's so frustrating, bro. Everybody's getting better. 4-win season for New England. Look at them. They look solid. Jacksonville looks better. Even Carolina, for Christ's sakes, 3 wins in a row. And what do? We're going backwards. We keep going backwards. It's tough, man. It's tough being a Raider fan. I mean, win, lose, or tie, I'm a Raider till I die, no doubt. But my gosh, man, you got to start giving us some hope here. This team, these coaches, $6 million for this offensive coordinator. He can't even put 3 points up on the board. I don't care if he's playing, the greatest team of all time. 3 points? Can you get 3 points on the board? My God, man, it's just been tough. It's been tough. And listen, I'm going to keep listening. I appreciate it. You're not my first listen, but you're my second listen every day. You and Ari do a great job. Thank you, guys. But, man, give me some hope here. Last thing I got to say, MVP for the Raiders year in, year out is that PR department. They always get my hopes up. Always. Always get my hopes up. But, man, then the truth comes out. It's horrible. Okay, hate to be so negative. I'm trying to find some positive. We lose our best defensive player today. That can only make it worse. It's tough, bro. There's no positive right now. There is literally no positive. Okay, I'm out. Thank you again for all you do. This is LQ Raider from the 760. Out.
Thanks so much for the call. I appreciate you. And yeah, look, I didn't think that they were going to win the game. I picked them on my radio show just because they were such underdogs. I was like, man, that's disrespectful. Right? I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Raiders on this one. But, I mean, I said on the Raiders Squad show with Chantel Chan and Lincoln Kennedy that I thought that the Raiders were going to lose. But I thought it was going to be close. I thought it was going to be competitive. I thought it was going to be, one-score game. I didn't think you were going to get blanked 31-0. Like, what in the world is that? I don't know how they get right. I really don't. I don't know if there is a get right, right? There's not a magic bean or anything. Like, this ain't Jack and the Beanstalk, right? Where all of a sudden they're going to have like some winning traits grown in the back facility or whatever. I don't know what they have to do to get better. That's why I feel like you're going to see a lot of guys playing moving forward to get them some burn. And it might not be right away. They might wait a little while. They might wait to see what they look like coming out of the bye week. But if it ain't 100% evaluation season right now, it's really close. That's for sure. But I feel like everybody's on notice after that kind of performance and 3 blowouts in 5 losses in the first 7 games under Pete Carroll as the head coach. That just, again, all that is not something that you want to put on your resume. It's like having a job where it was really bad. And, when you have when you go fill out an application somewhere else and they're like, oh, yeah, please list all your other job listings. I ain't going to put that one on. I ain't going to put that one on here because that was a really bad one, right? So, we kind of mess with the numbers a little bit, right? Yeah, that's not something in the first 7 games Pete Carroll wants to put that on his resume at all. Up next, got a text from Ohio Raider from the 419. We cannot be this bad, I hope. As a long-time Raiders fan, a lot of us are used to this. We seem once again to be going in the wrong direction. I do not think we can actually judge this team until after the bye week. We need to get healthy so we can see what we really have. I know injuries are part of the game, and they always say next man up. But when you don't have a lot of depth, it's hard to say next man up. Hoping for the best in the weeks to come. Go Raiders, Ohio Raider from the 419. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. You know, Jacoby Myers didn't play. He was banged up. Brock's obviously been out for a handful of games now. You know, there's just – and they don't have depth. That's something that we always talked about. Like, if they do suffer a couple injuries, it's going to be all bad. But, you know, even – I don't even know how much Brock and Jacoby would have helped on Sunday because, again, the Raiders were just so bad. So thanks so much for that text. Do appreciate you. We'll close out with a call from Raider Big C in L.A., calling to talk about another loss, the bye week, and how he's feeling at this stage of the game as the Raiders are 2-5. Here's Raider Big C in L.A.
It's Raider Big C from L.A. You know when it's bad when everyone just turns off their TV before halftime. I don't know what is going on. You know what I see, though, the common denominator is that our losses are more commonly with blowouts. And I don't know if I want that or I rather have a close game, but all I gotta say is this. They better enjoy this bye week and try to find something else. Because what we're seeing is not a team to compete. We're just seeing a team that's getting the bad luck. Bad luck. You know, in the first half alone, I saw a couple chances where they had a chance, but, you know, now we're just numb. It's a numb feeling. That's all it is. I'm glad I was there to see that one win. Me and my pops, we enjoyed it. We had a great time. Some memories, the core memories. But as of right now, I'll still watch the games, but wish they can be more competitive. And that's the one thing I asked you to do in the very beginning. Well, enjoy the bye week. Go Dodgers. Ready, Big C from LA. Out.
Big C, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Hey, there's always that. You got the Dodgers. They're looking great, right? Shohei put in a performance that I've never seen a performance like that on Friday. I talked about that all weekend long. Oh, 3 for 3 from the plate, 3 home runs, and I'll get on the mound and go 6 innings, only give up 2 hits and strike out 10. Who does that? That's wild. So, yeah, there's that. You can always talk about that because I know the Raiders aren't something that you want to go to work and brag about, right? Not the way that they're playing. Man, they are bad, but they got to get something solved and figured out. It was good that you were at Allegiant and got to see that win against the Titans, you and your pops, and it was good to see you and everything. So, hopefully we'll get to do it again sometime this season. So that's going to close out the show for today. We do have the Raiders squad show today. No Chantel. We're going to have Amber Theo Harris in for her. So it'll be Amber, Lincoln, and me. I'm going to be Howard co-selling it. I'm going to be going ahead and hosting it and kind of teeing it up for Amber and Lincoln. So we should have a good one. It starts at 8 o'clock this morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So again, Amber Theo Harris, Lincoln, and myself. Chantel is on the bye week. she's having a bye week, but she should be back for the Thursday show that we have. So just a little bit of a note and a nugget. And, of course, we'll talk to Pete Carroll coming up a little bit later on this morning as well. And then they'll go off to the bye week, and we won't really have a lot of action there at the facility, but we'll have plenty to talk about. Trust and believe that. So until then, Raider Nation, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.